Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. How are you? I hope you all guys always in a good condition. Before my group present our presentation, I would like to introduce my group. The first one is Dera Sandi Muhammad Bilal, Kiki Amelia, and me Waro Yulia Rahmawati. In this change, we would like to present about the process of conducting research using quantitative approach. So we will tell you about what is the meaning of research and what is quantitative approaches and what step in quantitative research. Okay, the first one is a definition of research and its importance. Research is the activity of solving problems that lead to new knowledge using method of inquiry approved by the scholar in the field. Research, also called by scientific activity, the activity that you should find a problem and you solve the problem by some method. And then there are the characteristics of research. The first one is planned. What the meaning of planned? So the researcher, before carrying out research activities, a researcher must have a careful planning. So you guys, before doing a research, you have to make a good plan. And then the second one is systematic. A study must be arranged in order. You should arrange your study before you doing a research. So you can easily doing a research if your study arranged systematic. The last one is pattern. A study conducted must have a pattern that has been agreed upon or previously established. The researcher doesn't make a new pattern in their research because the pattern has to use the researcher must has been agreed upon previously established. So the researchers cannot make new pattern. And then next is the aim of the research. The first one is solving problem. To carry out the research, students are required to look the problem first, which can be used as an object then. Good research is a study that can produce a new knowledge. Problems that can be researched are new in origin, not plagiarism from previous study. Another option that can be chosen by the researcher is by using replication. Replication is a study that replicates previous study with the same topic and subject, but the method used is different. In this material, we know that research have to solving a problem, and a research doesn't have to plagiarism because the research must be new and origin. The researcher have another option with like replication. The replication means that the study should do by the researcher is get the same topic and subject with previous study, but the method used is different. The second one is method of inquiry. Method used to research in order to find. The research method must be in accordance with the agreed method. So the researcher must be in accordance with the agreed method. The researcher cannot make a new method of their research. And then the 6 steps in the process of research. Applied today, these steps provide the foundation for educational research. Although not all studies include prediction, you engage in these steps whenever you undertake a research study. The process of research consists of 6 steps. The first one is identifying a research. You begin a research study by identifying a topic to study. Typically, an issue or problem in education needs to be resolved. What should you do for identifying a research problem? Specifying an issue to study, and then you have to developing a justification for studying it. And then the last one is suggesting the importance of the study for select audiences that will read the report. By specifying a problem, you limit the subject matter and focus attention on a specific aspect of study. And then the second one is reviewing the literature. Reviewing the literature means locating summarized book, journals, and index publication on a topic, selectively choosing which literature to include in your review, and then summarizing the literature in a written report. You can learn how to locate journal articles and books in an academic library, access computerized database, choose and evaluate the quality of research on your topics, and summarize it in a review. And then the third is specifying a purpose for research. The purpose for research consists of identifying the major intent or objective for a study and narrowing it into specific research question or hypothesis. The purpose statement contains the major focus of the study, the participant in the study, and the location or site of the inquiry. This purpose statement is then narrowed to research question or prediction that you plan to answer in your research study. And then the next is collecting data. Collecting data means identifying and selecting individuals for a study, obtaining their permission to study them, and gathering information by asking people questions or observing their behaviors. This step will produce a collection of numbers or opinions or frequency of behaviors. Once you identify these individuals and places, you write method or procedure section into your research studies. And then the next is analyzing and interpreting the data. Analyzing and interpreting the data involves drawing conclusion about it, representing it in tables, figures, and pictures to summarize it, and explaining the conclusion in words to provide answer to your research question. You report analysis and interpretation in sections of a research report usually titled Results, Finding, and Discussion. And then the last one is reporting and evaluating research. What is the meaning of reporting research? Reporting research involves deciding on audiences, structuring the report in a format acceptable to these audiences, and then writing the report in a manner that is sensitive to all readers. And then, what is evaluating research? Evaluating research involves assessing the quality of a study using standards advanced by individuals in education. And then, next is this is the research process cycle. Like I was told before, the first one is identifying a research problem, and then reviewing the literature, specifying a purpose for research, collecting data, analyzing and interpreting data, reporting and evaluating research, like that. Then next is the characteristic of quantitative research in each of the 6 steps. Before I present about this material, I would tell you that in the research there are 2 types of research. The first one is qualitative research, and then the next one is quantitative research. So I will tell you about the characteristic of quantitative research. There are 6 steps in quantitative research. The first one is describing a research problem through a description of trends or a need for an explanation of the relationship among variables. The second one is providing a major role for the literature through suggesting the research question to be asked and justifying the research problem. The third, creating purpose statements, research questions, and hypotheses that are specific, narrow, measurable, and observable. And then the next one is collecting numeric data from a large number of people using instruments with preset question and response. Analyzing trends. Comparing groups or relating variables using statistical analysis and interpreting results. And then the last one is writing the research report using standard fixed structures and evaluation criteria, and taking an objective and biased approach. So, the explanation is in this chapter. In quantitative research, the investigator or the researcher identifies a research problem based on trends in the field or on the need to explain why something occurs. So the researcher have to know what trends in the field, or they have to know what something occurs that should be explained by them. Some quantitative research problems require that you explain how one variable affects another. Variables are an attribute, example like attitude toward the school bond issue, or characteristic of individuals like example gender. The researcher study. By explaining a relation among variables, you are interested in determining whether one or more variables might influence another variable. In reviewing the literature in quantitative research, you will typically see a substantial literature review at the beginning of the study. Thus, the literature plays a major role in two ways. The first one is justifying the need for the research problem and suggesting potential purpose and research question for the study. In quantitative research question, you ask specific, narrow questions to obtain measurable and observable data on variables. The major statement and question of direction in a study, the purpose statement, the research question, and the hypothesis are specific and narrow because you identify only a few variables to study. From a study of these variables, you obtain measures or assessment on an instrument or record score on a scale from observation. The next is, in quantitative data collection, you use an instrument to measure the variables in the study. An instrument is a tool for measuring, observing, or documenting quantitative data. It contains specific question and response possibilities that you establish or develop in advance of the study. Examples of instruments are survey questionnaires, standardized tests, and checklists that you might use to observe students or teachers' behaviors. In quantitative data analysis, you analyze the data using mathematical procedures called statistics. This analysis consists of breaking down the data into parts to answer the research question. Statistical procedures, such as comparing groups or relating scores for individuals, provide information to address the research question or hypothesis. In reporting and evaluating quantitative research, the overall format for a study follows a predictable pattern. Like the first one is introduction, review of the literature, methods, results, and discussion. This form creates a standardized structure for quantitative studies. And then the next one is kind of quantitative research, would present by my friends Sandi Muhammad Bilal.